Y'all have any more questions about Birdie? Or I have something else I want to talk about too. Like Susan said, I'm a lawyer, and I work at a nonprofit called the Georgia Innocence Project. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. What we do is, I was kind of joking a little bit when I came in, but you know, it might be scary for some people on the outside to come in with the barbed wire and the fence and well, I'm a lawyer, so I'm used to being in jails and prisons, so it doesn't bother me at all. Thankfully, I've never been arrested myself, but my clients all have. So, our most recent exoneration was actually a Fulton County case. So the last time I was in the Fulton County jail was the day that my client walked out of the Fulton County jail a free man after we exonerated him. I haven't been back here since then. But that was a 2007 case. Prior to that, all of our other cases are old. I mean, some of our guys have been in prison 12 years, 21 years, 28 years, long time. So we've had 5 guys exonerated in Georgia through the use of DNA evidence in the past about 11 years that the project has been going. So I'm working there now under a grant that we got from the federal government that basically pays me to work there for 2 years. And I got it because I was an intern there when I was in law school. So I did 2 summers working there, and I worked on a particular case, the Fulton County case that I was talking about, while I was an intern, and I got to go into court as a law student and work on that case and, you know, go before the judge and tell the judge about the case and explain what the DNA evidence showed us, that it didn't match our client was not guilty and he was wrongfully convicted. And it was a very cool experience when I was in law school. So when the opportunity came up for me to actually go back to work there as an attorney, I didn't even hesitate. I was so excited for the opportunity. So I've been back there for about a year now. It's a 2-year grant that I'm working under, so I have 1 more year left. But it's really an amazing experience to get to change somebody's life like that. I'm actually working on another Fulton County case right now. It's a 1988 rape and murder case, and we just got testing for our client about 2 weeks ago. So we were in Superior Court downtown in front of Judge Shube. I don't know if any of y'all know Judge Shube. She's a good judge. She's a fair judge. She's a very smart woman. We were in her courtroom, and I actually thankfully got the district attorney to agree to do the DNA testing after a long fight of them, you know, saying, no, we're not going to test, we're not going to test. And they finally agreed to it. So we've got that evidence right now at the GBI. Do you guys know what the GBI is? Georgia Bureau of Investigation, statewide police agency. They have a crime lab. It's out in Decatur on Panthersville Road. And so the evidence is there right now at the GBI. They're going to be testing that, and hopefully it will give us an answer one way or the other. A lot of times people ask me, well, how do you know that they're innocent? And I say, I don't. That's why we do DNA testing, to figure out for sure. You know, they tell us they're innocent, we believe they're innocent, but we don't know for sure until we get the test results back. So we're at that position right now where we're just waiting for the scientists to do their job and let us know what the evidence is going to tell us. So, but that's an example of how old some of the cases are that we work on. I mean, it's the guy's been in prison since I was 5 years old, you know? So it's kind of a humbling experience to go and meet him. And he's been incarcerated for coming up on 30 years, you know, 27 years. And he's basically grown up in prison. He's got a lot of health problems. He's had a stroke in prison, so he's in a wheelchair. And it's just very, you know, it's very humbling. Yeah. So.
That's so sad about the situation, because if he's not guilty, it's nothing you can get back from all that time.
Yeah.
Were you guys aware that there was an organization out there that did things like this?
No.
So, what does it tell you? Thank you. That's exactly right. There's a whole lot of people out there in this world that care.
Really care.
You guys probably never thought of that. That there are people that care about you that you've never even met before. And there are. Christina could probably be making a lot more money working as an attorney for a private firm. Because the nature of nonprofit is that you generally don't make as much money. So the people who work in nonprofit, it means something. They're doing it because they believe.
So that's
You guys need to understand that there are a whole lot of people in this world that care that you don't have any idea about.
Yeah.
So she's just part of the family, right? Welcome to the family.
Yeah, Birdie is too. Sure.
What kind of cases do you have knowledge about?
So our cases are really a range. I mean, they're all felonies, but that's it. I mean, they range from an armed robbery case to a rape case to a murder case to theft, auto theft. I mean, just really any felony offense where there could be some DNA involved in the case. That's our main focus. There has to be some DNA. And a lot of times people think of DNA as got to be some kind of like blood or bodily fluid. They don't think of the wide range of things you can get DNA off of. So my 2007 case where I was working on it, where the guy got exonerated, it was an armed robbery case where a guy stole a car at gunpoint from a woman, and it was a very poor identification. She couldn't see him very well, but she identified my client. And I could talk about the case for 3 hours, but the short end of it is what happened when the guy was running away from the scene of the armed robbery. He dropped a cell phone and a t-shirt. So that is what we got DNA off of. We got DNA off of the cell phone and we got DNA off of the t-shirt, and they matched. It was one person who had both of them, and we tested against my client, and it wasn't my client. So you have to think, very broadly about DNA. They can actually now test if you go back, say about 20 years ago, you needed to have a spot about the size of a quarter of bodily fluid, essentially, to test for DNA. Now they can test skin cells. It's called contact DNA. So every time you touch something, you're kind of rubbing off a few skin cells on things you're touching. In clothes, a cup, toy, whatever, your chair, you're leaving something behind. You can't see it, of course, but you're leaving something behind every time you touch something. They can test and get a profile from 6 to 7 skin cells. That's all you need. So, I mean, I can't even imagine how small a skin cell is, but it's so small, you could barely see it under a microscope. So just put 6 to 7 of those together, and they can get a full DNA profile off of that now. So, so we have to have DNA, but it's not necessarily the DNA that you generally think of. Technology has really advanced, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the case that you have won that the incarceration was long?
That would be John White, who he was convicted of a rape in, I believe, I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think it was 1982, maybe. And yeah, he had some issues where he was actually out on parole for the rape, and he got revoked for something, and so he had to go back, and his entire time was 28 years. He was incarcerated from the time of the rape to the time he was exonerated. So yeah, 28 years.
What happened to him now that he got exonerated?
So our project, we have a sort of spin-off that's called Life After Exoneration. So like you guys are family, those guys are our family. Those 5 guys are our family. We take care of them, we do whatever we can to help them. We don't just say, oh, you're exonerated, have a nice life, see you never. We are in touch with them, they come and see us. Yeah, they're our family. They're our family. So we do whatever we can to help them with, find jobs, find a place to live.
Do most of them sue when they get out?
We have, so out of the 5, 4 of our guys have gotten compensation for the time that they were in prison when they were wrongfully convicted. 4 of them have. And right now in Georgia, there's no standard way that people get compensated after they've been wrongfully convicted. There's actually a bill going through the legislature this session, so all the lawmakers, you know, they get together once a year and they vote on bills. And there's a bill coming up this session where they're trying to kind of standardize, so basically put a dollar amount on each year that the person is incarcerated. So this is not probably the correct number, but just imagine it's $50,000 per year. So if you're incarcerated for 5 years, you're going to get $250,000. So they're working on that right now, because what's happened in the past with our guys is you've got one guy who's in, like John, for 28 years. He might get $1 million. Well, if you look at the next guy who's in for 16 years and he gets $1.5 million, like, it doesn't make any sense because there's no standardization at all. The way it works now is you have to find a legislature who will do what's called a private bill, and you basically, you know, meet with them, explain your situation, you show that you've been wrongfully convicted and incarcerated, your record is gone because it's been expunged now, and what you do is say, you know, I believe I should be compensated for this. You come up with a number, and the whole legislature has to vote on it. So it just depends on if the person that you're meeting with thinks you should get $1 million or $1.5 million. I mean, it's totally, you know, just whatever the whim of the person is that you're talking to. So they're trying to get it to the point where it's more standard for everybody and more equal. Yeah. Yeah.
So after your year, you thinking about starting your own private?
Well, I'm actually really hoping, we're starting to talk about reapplying for the grant that we have right now, and maybe we could get it extended so I can continue to work. And if not, then I'll probably go back to the law firm that I was working at before I came, which is a very small law firm in Decatur, just 3 attorneys, including myself. And what we did was insurance defense. So basically, if somebody got into a car accident, or they had a slip and fall accident in a restaurant, or a dog bite, we would defend the person who was being sued. So that's what I did before. I'll probably go back there. The work that I was doing was not like the work I'm doing now. I mean, I can go home now and feel like I really did something good today for this guy who deserves it, and he doesn't have any family. He doesn't have a support system like I do. Nobody gives a damn about him. He's been in prison for 28 years. He's just, you know, as far as anyone else concerned, he's just, yeah, you know, lock him up, throw away the key. To me, he's not, and he knows that. And that's such an important part of my job. And it's very fulfilling, and I love it. I really do. I mean, there's nothing I can compare to it. It's really amazing. What was I doing before? Working for an insurance company. And not to say that I didn't like my work. I loved the people that I worked with. It was great. But I work for the man, right? Like, it's not like, yay, you saved the insurance company $100,000 today. Great job. And you're like, yay. Wish you'd pay me $100,000. You know, so it's not, you know, I would be happy that I won things and, you know, feel like I'm doing a good job. I know I'm a good lawyer, but it's not the same feeling that I have working at a nonprofit where I get to actually touch people's lives, you know? So I would love to keep doing it.
What your interest small breeds doing?
Do you want to just get them? Or you want
I mean, we'll get you in there too,
okay.
But let's get them with Birdie. Everybody squeeze in so we can get everybody's face.
Okay, say Birdie the Smalls. One more.
Don't freak out because we're going to get Christina in there with you guys too.
2 times the charm. Say 1, 2, 3,
you.
Birdie.
Okay, now Christina, you go over there too.
I'll stand up here in the front. I think I'm about the same height. I don't want to stand in front of somebody.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, you're fine.
Look at her, she's trying to wiggle her way off the seat.
Smile, Birdie.
You want